What up, guys? In this video, I want to share something really important, that something I've found very important. Almost, I would say it's impossible to be with a woman or to date women, to get dates, if you don't know how to do what I'm about to say. And this is what I'm coining this phrase. I call it rewriting women's narratives, right? So women have a lot of fears. They don't want to admit it, but I don't know if that's something that they've been conditioned to believe, because of maybe bad things that men have done to women, or that's just their nature. I don't really know. It's probably a little bit of both. I think it is it has a lot to do with their nature. But first I'll explain why they do that, and then I'll explain what I actually mean by that. Well, actually, hold on. First, I'm gonna explain what it is. So rewriting their narrative. So women, they have certain narratives that they give in their mind. These are fears, right? Or these are beliefs that they have about what your intentions are, what's gonna happen when you date them, etc., 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 right? And I'll give you an example, right? Let's say that you ask a woman out, right? She has a fear that alcohol is going to be involved. But the thing is, a lot of the time, this is just one example, a lot of the time, a woman is not going to tell you what her fears are. This is either because they're unconscious, her fears are unconscious, she's too afraid to tell you, she doesn't want you to manipulate her if she tells you what her fears are, or maybe she just wants a guy who can read her mind. I don't know. But a lot of the time, they're not going to tell you what their narrative is. Their narrative might be, this guy's asking me out so that he can get me drunk so that he can have sex with me, right? So one way of combating this narrative that she might have, and you always don't even know what their narrative is, so sometimes you just gotta shoot blindly, so you can text her and you have to rewrite the narrative. You can say, hey, let's go out, we're not gonna have any alcohol, I have to meet my friend at 7 p.m, so we'll split up right around then. So you just now overwrit her narrative. She had a fear that you guys were gonna drink, that you were gonna try to take her back to her house, blah blah blah. But through your text, you now overwrote that. Now that fear is gone, or it's at least lessened, right? So women have all sorts of these narratives, and you never know what they are, right? I mean, you kind of can. You have to learn them over time, right? You have to learn them over time, just intuitively, and by shooting these basically blind shots. You just gotta shoot in the dark, really, to kind of understand what their narrative is. And even if you're wrong, even if they don't have that fear, just by you showing that you care, to make her more comfortable, it actually helps you, right? So another narrative that a woman might have when you ask her out, she thinks, this is way too serious. I'm afraid that he's gonna try to turn me into his girlfriend way too quickly, right? That might be her fear. That might even be unconscious, but who knows? So one thing you can do there is you can try to make things more lighthearted. Hey, we're gonna get together. It's really fun. It's gonna be fun. We don't know each other well. Let's just focus on, just having a good time, like we're friends who are meeting for the first time. You can even say, we can just treat it like we're same-sex friends, just meeting for the first time, and just chatting about life or whatever. So you now just took her narrative. Her narrative was, oh, this is too serious. This guy asked me out and I feel too tense about it, and it's too serious of a thing. But by you saying that text, you now just overwrote it. You wrote her a new narrative that she can have in her mind, right? And like I'm saying, they're not always gonna tell you what it is. Matter of fact, I say most of the time they're not gonna tell you. If you're lucky enough to find a good woman, she will just ask you straight up. She will ask you, what are you expecting on this date? She will ask you, she will say, are we gonna be drinking on this date alcohol? Because I don't want you to drink around me and I'm not gonna drink, right? She will actually say these things out loud. She will ask you, why did you ask me out on a date right near my house, in the same neighborhood as my house? Because women, they have, like I'm saying, they have all these narratives. They will get triggered. If a girl says that she lives in such and such neighborhood and you happen to ask her out to a restaurant that is right near her house in her neighborhood, she's gonna think that you're trying to go to her house. That's probably what she's gonna think. So you don't want her to think this. So you need to understand. You have to understand, okay, maybe don't pick a restaurant right near her house. Pick something right in the middle, so she doesn't think, right between the middle of your house and her house somewhere, so that she doesn't think you're trying to take her back to your house or her house or whatever. And this is women all the time. Like, this isn't even just before asking girls out on a date. There's always tension building up in them, and you always have to relieve that tension from them, right? Like, that's literally what it is, like, dating a woman. So you have, like, a woman will have these fears, insecurities, anxieties, complaints, jealousies, everything, right? And you have to go off by yourself, reflect, right? And then come back with some solution, and then, word it to her in a way that makes her feel safe, right? And then her affection will go back up, the connection will go back up, but then it will start back over again. That's what all girls do. That's literally what they do, right? Men, we tend to have a way of solving our own narratives, right? We will just be like, don't be scared, don't be scared, don't be scared, don't be scared. Like that's what we will tell ourselves, because men have to overwrite their fears and their complaints and everything, because that's the way we're taught, right? We're taught that from the start. Like, I played baseball growing up. When I step into the box to hit, I can't tell myself, oh, I'm afraid of getting hit by the ball right now. I have to focus on hitting. I can't focus on being hit by the ball, right? So men are just naturally, like, we're just taught that, to overwrite our narratives. And we don't necessarily, of course we want someone to come to our rescue to help us when we're scared. It's not every human being does, right? Every human being wants a motherly figure or whatever. But a lot of the time we don't expect that from our girlfriend or whatever, like, or the girl that we like. We don't expect that. If we're hurt or sad about something, I think typically we just isolate ourselves and then find a way to repair it and then come back like nothing happened. Like, I think that's typically what men do. But anyways, you always got to understand that thing about women. And it's like, this is why you want to pick a woman who will actually do service for you and who will actually respect you, because this stuff is hard work. This is hard work. I mean, if a woman is just dating you and thinks that she's pretty and that's all she has to do, dude, you better go be single, because all this hard work, figuring out what a woman's anxieties are, figuring out what she's thinking, figuring all that stuff is hard work. So you're gonna wear yourself out if she's not actually doing anything for you, bro. Like, that's why you want to find a woman who will cook and clean and who will dress modestly, so who will actually do things that make you feel taken care of and make you feel respected. Otherwise, you're gonna wear yourself out, bro. It's not worth it. All right, but this is a big one. Have a good day, guys. Peace out. Real quick, I just want to provide a few other examples. I feel like I didn't provide enough examples in the video. Another example could be, let's say you get a feel that a girl is very traditional, right? right? And she's very close to her dad, right? If you start asking her out, she's gonna have a fear that her parents wouldn't approve of you, because it's likely that her parents have control over who she dates, right? So if you start asking her out, she's gonna get afraid that because her parents don't know that you're doing this, that she's afraid that she's kind of hiding something from her parents, right? So I asked out a girl like that recently, but what I did is when I asked her, I said, tell your parents. That's what I said. I told her straight up, I said, tell your dad that I'm asking you out, because I know that that's kind of the way she thinks. So I rewrote the narrative. She probably has a fear, oh my gosh, my dad doesn't know that this guy's asking me out. You know, I might have to pull away from him because my dad doesn't know about this. But I told her, I said, tell your dad I'm asking you out. Right? So you got to understand what their fears are. Another one could be age. Let's say you're older than her. If the girl asks you, how old are you? And you're older than her, sometimes you don't even want to tell her your age. Just be like, I'll tell you later. Oh, for now, let's not focus on that. Because you don't want her getting triggered like that, you know? You don't want her getting triggered by something superficial. See, because that's what happens. As a man, your job is to get her focus off of the superficial. Because women will get so caught up in the superficial that they will ruin every chance that they can have with a man. They will sabotage it if you allow them to focus on it. So that's why you gotta get her off of the superficial thinking and guide her thinking so that she can keep moving forward, because she's gonna stop if you allow her to get caught up in those things. All right, peace out.